Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Luck We Had, a Shameless recap podcast, the mini-sode edition.
Mini-sode, season 11, baby.
Yeah, I am one of your hosts. My name is Amanda.
I'm Evan. I'm your other host, and welcome back, everyone.
Thank you all for joining us. We're so glad that you guys seem to really like these mini-sodes. We really like doing them. And we said it in one of our main episodes. We're sorry that we're not doing mini-sodes of the Hall of Shames, but it felt like doing a recap of a thing that was already a recap, and we didn't really know how to handle that.
Because, I feel like a lot of the plot lines that are going to be involved in Hall of Shame are not really going to be ones that help progress the current season, so I feel like it's just kind of like the filler episodes. So it's not like it's like our mini pods are already filler episodes for our other episodes. So it just would be too much. We'd basically have 3 different shows going on at once.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot, so we're just gonna let the Hall of Shames be what they are. We really enjoyed the Ian and Mickey one and the Kevin V one, honestly. And
I still need to watch that one, but I heard it was really, really good.
It was pretty okay. It was pretty all right. And the next one that we have to watch is the Lip one. Yeah, they just advertised that Lip is happening.
You said it's him telling Fred a story, which I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think Fred has a cold and can't sleep, so Lip stays up with him and reads him a bedtime story. I think that was the premise that they put out in the synopsis.
I'm so excited.
But for now, let's talk about 1104. And what we watched just the other night. Right now, it is Monday the 11th. I'm going to edit this and get it out as fast as I can. But we aren't going to get another new episode until the 31st, or until the 30th or the 31st.
Yeah. Damn, oh yeah.
Yeah, until the 31st, because the next week is going to be a Hall of Shame. And then that's going to happen. And then I think the next one after that is February 10th, because they finished filming episode 8 and then had to go into basically another 2-month lockdown.
Is it just what certain is it all of Warner Brothers is shut down? Is that what that's what lot they shoot?
It's
right?
Most production in Los Angeles has been shut down.
God damn.
Because they're a major COVID hotspot. So it's for everybody's safety. And yeah, it sucks that we're gonna have to wait to see the end of the series, but I would like all the cast and crew to be safe and healthy for the whole series.
At least I'm glad they're at least keeping some precaution and everything. And I remember we were already talking about how they made everyone was on set was already quarantined for 2 weeks prior to returning and all that stuff. So at least fucking take precaution. That's the best thing we can do. Even though it sucks that they're gonna be spending so long just waiting to film, because they have 4 episodes left to film.
Yeah, I don't know if they finished 8, but they have to do 9, 10, 11, and 12.
God damn.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully it'll be worth the wait. And until then, we've got this podcast.
Yes,
so
you do.
Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna just randomly go in groupings because the way that 1104's storyline laid out felt
Which
like
one
groupings.
Was this not in my backyard?
This was not in my. Yeah, everybody wondering what NIMBY NIMBY stands for. Not in my backyard is the name of this episode. I didn't look up who wrote it or directed it or anything. I don't really do that kind of research for the minisodes. I just jump right into it.
Keep it simple. So
let's start off with the one that I hated so much it made me physically ill. Carl's storyline.
I really did not enjoy watching that. Me and Sebastian were watching it together, and I cringed at every single point. I'm happy they are doing it in a sense, but I saw this really good post that was they're bringing light to situations regarding POC individuals and police brutality, and also people just taking advantage of their position and their power of control. But you're having a POC woman commit such a hateful disturbance, then you have the token white boy to sit there, watch the system go down, and then not say anything, and then try to have a redemption kind of thing at the very end, just returning it. I feel one thing that should be thrown out at the writers being how they're just excusing being able to show such a graphic, that vulnerable moment on television, to have it not even really be focused on, and this is a bad thing. Carl didn't say a fucking thing, not a thing. And just I understood the symbolizing of giving it back to her at the end, and I'm glad he did that, but I'm you can't just have him just be the token white boy who is so nice and he's a good cop now, But like he just sat there and let that happen. And also the writers need to be told not to fucking do that, because I bet they're gonna do another scenario regarding him, and it's just gonna probably get worse until he's gonna be like, maybe I should say something. Like it doesn't seem like it's going in a good direction any more than it already has been.
Yeah, especially after they introduced with the white male cop that has never pulled his gun on anybody and was just sort of coasting by, and then just an aggressive black woman as his new partner. Like,
I want to find this post because I want to credit whoever made that, because they really said some like really strong things.
I just looked it up. Sherman Payne is credited as the writer on this episode, so it at least wasn't an entirely white writer's room, because John Abbott and Paul Abbott and John Wells' names are still on every episode. But like this episode felt, not just for this purpose, but this episode felt so racist.
Yeah. It was very uncomfortable. Like they have dealt with race obviously plenty of times in this series, but like this one just felt really like it just upsetting. Like it just was like, it just hurt to watch.
Yeah, and like, you know, it reduces your rewatchability of your episode, putting in an attack of a black trans woman. I can't watch that again.
Yeah, especially like being a part of the trans community, like just watching her publicly have fun humiliating this woman and like commenting multiple times on her appearance, and like didn't she make a comment like, but like what's under her dress or something like that or whatever. It just was so, I don't know, it just was brutal, just out of nowhere, like not out of nowhere in the whole context, but just how it went 0 to 100, like 0 to 100, because like the one scene was just like back off, and then the next scene she's literally sexually assaulting and harassing this poor woman on the side of the street.
It was fucking awful to watch, and God, I really, like, I don't want Carl to be like a white savior character, but I also want him to open his fucking eyes.
Yeah, I hope
get out of this.
I hope they use him in like a better, lighter manner than just, because I'm glad they did have him, obviously, like, you could see in his face that he was like, what the fuck, like, this shouldn't be happening, this is ridiculous, and he did say something small, like, hey, that's enough, but it just, I feel like his silence was way too loud until the very ending.
And like, I don't want to give him brownie points for using the correct pronouns for her the whole time, but like, at least he didn't misgender her. Woohoo, I guess. So that sucked, and I hated that. And moving on to another one that sort of sucked that I hated. It's Debbie. I hate Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie's getting on my nerves.
I did like the scene in the kitchen with Franny with the super glue in her hair, and Sandy and Debbie. And like when Sandy's like, you're pushing this princess idea on her because of your own fucked up childhood situation. Like, yes, Sandy, please say more. And the little miss and Mickey coming up with the solution of going to the kids' cancer hospital to get a wig. Genius, Mickey. Smart little man. But Debbie sucks. Debbie's like, V, I have it just as bad as you because I grew up in a shitty house. Debbie, you're still a white woman.
Yeah, Debbie, you're still a white woman in a not good area. Like, you still already, from the get-go, she already has the upper hand compared to everyone else.
And I'm glad that the show made it very clear that Debbie was the one in the wrong in this situation, where, like, everything out of Debbie's mouth is like, you realize how dumb you sound, right? Let's also discuss that little moment, though, when she and Sandy are walking, and Sandy's like, I don't live with my family anymore. And there's, like, wild speculation about what that means, but, like, I think she just moved in with the Milkoviches, with the Gallagher's, and Debbie hasn't noticed.
Yeah, like, I think, because I remember we spoke about this last time, like, remember how, like, she was being sketchy outside in that alleyway? Debbie was like, hey, where are you? And she was like, doesn't matter. And then now this whole trope, like, I don't know, it just seems weird. Like, I don't think, like, her and Sandy are gonna end up together. I think it's just kind of gonna be, like, a small little fling Shameless can write in here and there to keep people kind of, like, involved. Because I know a lot of people enjoy Sandy. And, like, personally, I really like Sandy. She's a funny addition, and I love more queer characters, especially queer Milkoviches who fucking disobey their family. But
But it's also just the Milkovich move. You get attached to a Gallagher, you move into the house, with or without asking.
And more than that Gallagher is fucked up.
Yeah, Mandy did it. She just sort of moved in with Lip. And then Mickey did it. He moved in season 4. And now Sandy did it. She moved in, and just none of them notice until it's pointed out to
Because, like,
them.
every scene we normally see, if Mandy isn't, I mean, oh my god, Mandy, Sandy, Mandy, so many goddamn names. Like, Sandy, like, it's always her and Debbie waking up in the Gallagher house. So, like, that's what we imply, because, like, they've been dating since, what, like, mid-season 10 or, like, end of season 10-ish?
Sandy is straight up co-parenting this child.
Literally.
But Debbie's still like, wait, where do you live? She fucking lives in your room, Debbie.
Another thing, like, I did, which was a bit interesting that I noticed, is that, they really built up this Little Miss Southside storyline for, like, the last, like, 2 episodes, and then what was that? They didn't show anything. We didn't see any of, like, their talents, and then, of course, like, I definitely expected Franny to just, like, end up going up there and, like, no, not saying anything or doing anything, because from the last couple episodes, you know she doesn't want to do shit for that thing. But, like, we saw nothing. We saw nothing about it, and they didn't talk about it at the end, like, whoever, like, we ended up seeing who wins, but, like, what was that? They built this, they hyped it up for so long, and then it was just, like, 5 people in a gymnasium, and then, like, there was more contestants than there were people in the crowd.
I do love, though, that this storyline ended up with something cool beginning for Veronica. She was approached by a council member to maybe run for something.
She was working in the Chicago, like, Democratic something that she just, like, because he was like, you really know how to, like, speak, and I think he wanted to, like use her for references on projects, I guess, regarding the South Side, and, like, so she could be, like, the eyes for that South Side and, like, that kind of thing. And I was like, yes, V, good for you, because I really liked her big speech. Like, it kind of seemed random, but I'm glad they did say it, because it was actually, like, it was, like, also put Debbie in her fucking place.
I love people recognizing potential in V. They did it in season 10 with the drug rep thing, and then they're doing it in this season with this. Like, yes, V is incredibly smart, and use her. So I, like, the whole Debbie storyline sucked, but the fact that it ended up in something cool starting for V was really nice.
Also, can we talk about Franny cutting her hair, being the rebel that she is? I'm so proud of her. I wonder what they're gonna do with that whole storyline, because
well, in the next episode, the description part of it for Franny says I think Sandy takes Sandy takes Franny to go see Franny's favorite wrestler.
Ooh, I love tomboy Franny trope, but then I'm really sad that they, like, totally ignored her, like, Oro boy kind of comment to Frank so far, but obviously she's still, like, a child, so they're probably not gonna, like, dive in, like, trans Franny. But that would be powerful as fuck.
We can dream. We can absolutely dream.
Love, like, whole not trans boy, what I'm trying to say, tomboy Franny, like, I love that, like, but Debbie needs to calm down. That's getting on my nerves. Like, let your child be a child for once.
Yeah. Okay, so should we do Frank and Kevin, Liam, or should we do Ian and Mickey? You want to do Frank and Kevin, Liam?
Yeah, let's do them.
So, the Frank and Kevin...
I have some things to say about that as well.
Well, first of all, the scene of Frank standing at the fence talking to Terry Milkovich saying, yeah, Terry, I do think I'm better than you. I think everybody is better than you. And you know what? That's the first thing Frank Gallagher has ever said that I'm like, you are 100% correct.
Like, I love like later in the episode when Ian and Mickey are talking together, it was like, the Milkoviches are the worst, but the Gallaghers are only, like, a step above you guys. And I was like, yep. I was like, at least you put Ian in his place. Because you can't talk shit against the Milkoviches. Everyone, like, the Milkoviches, the only reason they're lower than the fucking Gallaghers is because they're homophobic and racist.
The absolute fear I have in my heart for Liam, though, the entire episode, Liam's like, oh, you know what we should do? We should get the ever-loving fuck out of here.
I love him. And, like, Kev was like, yeah.
Liam's like, that's the solution. We get up and we move. I love that Kev also Kevin V are also like, the Milkoviches aren't going to be that bad. And then they see the Confederate flag and they're like, oh, no, this shit needs to get taken care of ASAP.
Like, handle this.
And, like, the Kev and Liam of it all, just like, Kev is nice and stupid and is trying to do something to protect his family. Liam is fucking terrified. Terry Milkovich needs to die. And like we said, Sandy says it in the episode too, the Milkoviches just multiply. We will never know how many there are.
Oh, yeah.
We will never know the grand total of the scale of Milkoviches, but it is too many. And
they're all disgusting. Like, the more they show up, the dirtier they are.
Yeah. And within all of that, we have a little moment, too, of Frank forgetting what they had just done only 1 hour ago.
Yeah, they were all sitting back at, like, Kevin V's, and he suggested a plan they just did, and then he tried to, like, backtrack on himself and, like, try to be like, oh, that's not what I meant, you're stupid, and then came up with a different plan. You could see Kevin, like, Kev especially was just like, the fuck the entire time he was speaking, like, just looking at him weird. So this is what, like, the second or third instance now of Frank, like, wholeheartedly forgetting something, because first we had a bunch of times in the Francis Franny episode, and then did we have anything last episode with him forgetting? I don't remember.
The last episode was Francis and Franny. That was the last. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, I forgot Hall of Shame's been taking up so much time. I forget how many episodes have been out.
Also, before we get to the Ian and Mickey of it all, I completely forgot an entire other storyline because I hated it so much. The Lip and Tammy one.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
What my biggest gripe with it is the writers really wrote that entire speech for Tammy at the end and went, this is completely original. We've never done a story like this before, especially with Lip involved. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Who are Ian and Cash? Like, that speech that Tammy gave that just described Ian.
Yeah, like, and then Lip, like, comforted her in a sense, and I was just like, what is happening here? Like, I couldn't tell at first, like, what was going on, like, at the dinner or whatever, because, like, from the get-go, I was, like, confused, like, even what this was about. And then I just, like, didn't really pay attention to what Tammy and the other guy were saying, because I didn't care about them, but I was just, like, watching Lip the entire time, and he was pissed. Anytime either of them would speak, he would just have, like, the nastiest look on his face.
Like, I would just like if for once the writers watched their own show so that in that conversation, Lip could be like, you know, my 15-year-old brother was groomed by a 30-year-old man with
after
children.
they edit it, they don't even watch it. They just send it to Showtime and go, here.
Like, the fact that they wrote it down and did it and went, this is completely original. This is a new conversation we're starting. Nobody will remember that this is literally the beginning of Ian's storyline.
Listen, like, I didn't like how she normalized it so much from the get-go. Like, even, like, I felt uncomfortable. They went to brunch together, and then she was like, they're coming over for dinner, and he was like, we saw them, like, 4 hours ago. Like, I just thought that was a bit excessive, and then I feel like it definitely, like, obviously she had some realization at the end of her, like, and at the end of that storyline of, like, oh my god, I was manipulated, I was young, but I was like, they were batting us around for so long, like, I couldn't even tell what was happening until she mentioned, like, high school, and then I was like, oh, I'm uncomfortable now.
Also, just quick question, Fred? Where the fuck was Fred?
Yeah, where was he? I noticed that too. When me and Sebastian were watching it together, I was like, where's the baby? I was like, they weren't at brunch. The baby wasn't at home when they were coming over for dinner. I didn't see no one hold that baby at all.
Like, where the fuck was Fred? And I don't even remember a mention of, like, oh, Fred is at your mom's today, or Fred is at your sister's. Where's Fred?
Like, I'm guessing maybe at grandma's, like, definitely at Tammy's family's, but no mention of where the baby is.
So, yeah, I just with wide eyes, I was watching that. I'm like, they wrote that down and didn't realize that was just the Ian storyline from season 1.
I felt like it was pointless for this, like, time, like, line of this season. Like, that's like obviously not going to be mentioned or brought up again at all for the rest of the season, and this is the ending of the show. So like, what there was no real reason for that. I feel like if the writers used their brains, they could have used that to either start a new storyline or advance something they've already been basically working on, because they've been like fighting on and off like every single episode so far. And now what?
Like, I honestly feel like they just didn't know what to do with Lip for this episode, so they came up with some bullshit for Tammy.
Like, it just felt really like not out of place, because Shameless always throws you those random storylines all the time. So like, it's something we're used to in the series. But like, it felt no relevancy to anyone else's storylines. It had no relevance to any of Lip and Tammy's and Fred's storylines from the previous. Like, for the last 2 episodes, they've been like last episode, the baby. What about like the baby?
And it only had the loosest connection to in the previously on, when he mentioned they were doing home renovations. And then when the guy comes over, he talks shit about Lip's home. That was it. That was the loosest connection.
And then like, also that argument is so invalid because they're renting. So he's only doing as much as he think will make that house stable enough. He's not going to obviously advance and make like a whole fucking condo for himself on the south side when he's renting the location.
Maybe it was to point out that Tammy likes like successful men that like own places, and that he is less than.
I think it's a jab that they lived on the south side and she ended up with like someone who's considered underneath her fucking pedophile professor. Also, that girl was 17.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
Not even 18. They
Nope.
They didn't even give us that. No, 17. Not even a graduated high school senior.
Yeah. Like, it would have been bad enough if she was just looking for colleges. But she was like, no, I'm still trying to finish high school. I was like, you really went that young?
I thought at the beginning, when they show up for dinner, when they do the braces remark, at first I interpret it as in he obviously has like a thing for younger girls, but I thought it was just going to be the 20-ish-year-old girl who just acts like a child, who dresses like a child, who like still like looks like a child, like that whole like quote unquote trope of like females, because like her having braces. So I was like, oh, people who are older do have braces. Nope, 17.
The world's favorite TikToker has braces right now, though she won't show them to anybody.
Who is that?
Hawk hates you.
Hawk has braces?
Yeah, that's why every video now is from the nose up. She won't show her braces on TikTok.
Good for her. I'm glad she's doing well with her money. Do it. I love it.
So like, yeah. No, I agree. And God, that storyline sucked. I was so mad about it.
And it just sucks because we know it's not going to go anywhere and it's not going to do anything for them at all. It just added more tension to them for an episode and for someone else to be molested, basically. Like, it was just like Tammy was probably statutory raped and like all that stuff. But I realized they didn't say how old Tammy was when she dated him. They just said they dated for a couple months in high school, so I guess you have to put her in the same like 16, 18 age group.
Yeah. All right, but now for something a little better, the Ian and Mickey storyline, which I
enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
I really enjoyed it too. So like, it really distracted me in the first scene when Mickey comes downstairs. There's many layers to that scene. But the first one was, I saw Ian watching TV, and it was the Harley Quinn TV show. And my bird brain was like, haha, Harley Quinn TV show, gay, Ian gay, this is funny. And then our reigning lovely guest Lena texted and was like, Amanda, it's also funny because Cam is the Joker. I was like, no, you're right. There's even a shot when Mickey blocks the television. It's just the Joker over his shoulder. And for context, the character of the Joker is in like 3 episodes of the Harley Quinn TV show. They picked like just the scenes with the Joker.
Yeah, they wholeheartedly did that on purpose. They're like, haha, can't remember when you tried to leave our show to be on Gotham.
But then also another layer to that scene was soft morning, hey, how you doing? Grabbing him with the shoulders, soft little touches. And people were pointing out Mickey was realizing the signs of a downswing in Ian, that he was drinking a little bit at the end of the last episode, that he was depressed, he was overeating, he wasn't moving. So Mickey is like, well, get up, get dressed, we got a plan, we got a thing to do. Like,
I love him. It's giving me like season 5 vibes.
Big agree on that. Yeah, that was very cute.
Take your pills, bitch.
And Mickey being like, I'm your boss. And then later on when they're like getting ready, and it's legal. It's them transporting money for legal weed for a legal business, which is very nice. And then when Ian gets out of the shower all beefed up and
beefcake o'clock.
Beefcake. People are getting angry at Ian's aggression this season. But I don't read it as aggression. He is frustrated like all people are.
I don't read it as aggression. He's going through... We still got pandemic. He lost his job. Him and Mickey have been fighting the last, 2 episodes or whatever. He's just being a normal human being under pressure and stress.
And he normally has mood issues because he is bipolar. He's not completely stable.
He's mental illness and medical conditions that will definitely put him in those types of scenarios and, emotions and feelings.
And his husband has no self-preservation instincts.
Yeah, and his husband's fucking dumbass.
Mickey is loving and wonderful and comforting, but has no self-preservation instincts.
All.
So he's like, yeah, of course I carry an unregistered gun even though I'm a convicted felon. What's the problem? What are you talking about?
You have a gun? He was like, that's why it's not registered, dumbass. I'm like, what you're calling him dumbass?
And so people thought he was being mean with Mickey when he was like, well, what happens if you go back to prison? But go back and watch that again. He looks near tears.
Yeah, he doesn't want his husband to go back to jail. The fuck? He doesn't want him to get pulled over and then have a freaking unlicensed gun and then get in trouble for who God knows how long.
He knows that could break them, and that's not okay. So, yeah. And then in the store, Mickey has been pulling Ian's strings forever. When he walked away to get Ian to agree to be with, and I'm not wearing that outfit unless you're wearing it with me, adorable. They look so cute in their little fatigues.
I loved it. They look so funny. They look like they were trick-or-treating.
What did they call them? SEAL Team Dick?
I think so.
Honestly, that's the name of the business. SEAL Team Dick. I had one complaint when they went in the grow house and the girl was like, are you guys ex-military? And Mickey was the one going yeah, and trying to bullshit that. Mickey, your husband is literally ex-military.
Because the girl's are you Navy, Army, Air Force? And he's like, yeah, all that shit. And she's like, cool.
Your husband got kicked out of, but was in the military. Why don't you let him lie about your military experience? But I liked what you said about the conversation of Ian and Mickey in the store when he said, because I didn't like him defending the Milkoviches in front of Frank, but I also agree. He's like, no, my families are gross, racist, sexist, homophobic people who tried to murder us, but fuck your dad. He doesn't get to feel superior.
The Gallaghers get no credit compared to the Milkoviches, only in those, they're a little more accepting, and sometimes even that can waver, because how many homophobic, transphobic remarks have all of those characters made, regardless of them knowing another queer character or having literally Ian be their brother. You can put so many things, in a ball compared to all of them. But yeah, definitely the Gallaghers are only, a step up because they're not as racist, as homophobic, as transphobic.
Yeah. But I love Mickey's no, I recognize that my family sucks, but I'm not gonna let your family say that my family sucks.
I'm glad he put his foot down, because Ian can't be my family's better. It's no, you guys both have fucking fucked up families and fucked up fathers.
I like the line on the porch in the first scene. It's anybody here thinks they're a product of good parenting, go ahead and raise your hand. You're right, and you should say it. But overall, other than you retract Carl and Tammy, just take it and throw it away.
And Debbie.
Half of Debbie, because the V storyline was good. It was a good episode. I liked it.
I thought it was good. As gross as so far the Milkovich storyline has been handled, I really thought it was I thought Kev, Frank, and Liam's storyline was really funny, and I like that pairing of people because I feel we haven't seen that pairing really before, so it was really cool to see that. And I love seeing more of Liam, and I love Liam trying to put everyone in their fucking place.
I love the line of Kev when Kev, Frank, and Liam are outside of that house, and Kev says we're the wrong color for them to talk to us, and Liam's like, I'm right here, but Kev's like, yeah, but if Frank was any whiter he'd be clear, and I'm like, you're right.
And then Frank just looks at him.
But it's good. I think they're on a good
we forgot
roll.
to the freaking Kev, he just printed out photos of the Confederate flag and the Nazi symbol and started burning them, and I really I thought that was hilarious. But then I hated the Milkoviches. I was those are just some paper. Our race is homophobic, transphobic, it's in our blood. And I was ew.
But also the whole Milkovich storyline hit a little bit different after January 6th. Like, oh,
Hey.
hey. It was some poor timing on Shameless's part, I do think. But that was the episode. I enjoyed it. And the next episode is going to be a Hall of Shame, and then the one after that is called Slaughter?
Slaughter, yes. I think it's another kind of Milkovich-centric one, right?
Yeah, it is. And then Ian and Mickey getting more into their security business. People think that the camo kiss was cut from this episode. I don't think it was. I think the camo kiss is going to be in the next one.
When they're at the dispensary or whatever, the lady basically offered them a job, so their storyline probably is going to be them working for that company or whatever. So they're probably going to be wearing those outfits for the next couple of episodes, or God knows how long this is going to blow out for.
There's that, like, outdoor location scene that everybody saw them film where they get, like, pulled over in a truck, and, like, they're in those camo outfits for a long fucking time.
Obviously, like, they wouldn't get pulled over, and we already saw that they only got, like, $1,000 for Kevin B. So, like, I feel like that wouldn't happen unless they are transporting way more money, which is what probably is going to happen with regarding this dispensary or whatever. Also, I know my fair share of weed knowledge, but I don't know of a dispensary that you just walk in and the plants are just hanging out and it's a hangout room. Like, I've never seen it that way before.
Well, they're not a dispensary, they're the product supplier. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a farmer's market for weed. But I'm excited for that storyline. I'm very into that. I hate how invested I am with what's happening with Frank, but I am.
I'm so curious because, like, we were predicting, like, he's gonna get sick and get COVID, but, like, dementia, I feel like we talked about this, how, like, Frank isn't really given anything for, like, the last, like, couple of, like, storylines, and then now we're given something that we actually want to, like, focus on and, like, pay attention to, because it's something that we haven't really, like, seen before, and like, because of, like, him deteriorating basically,
and, like, it kind of hurts to watch. Like, I'm a little bit invested in it, and
it's just like, I think actually this was, like, a reference to a post. I should definitely start bookmarking these posts so I can credit the posters. But yeah, it was, like, basically, like, we've been so bored of Frank the last, like, couple of seasons because it's basically just the recycled Frank storyline, but with, like, a different person, a different drug, or a different substance that just is, like, repeat over, like, rinse and repeat. And, like, we've been bored because it seems like William H. Macy also seems like he's bored because it's just the same thing over again. And, like, I feel like this new storyline is something new that, like, we haven't dealt with on the show. And also, like, William H. Macy is given such, like, a big, like, thing now to help, like, give his character, like, the big bang out. And it seems like he actually, like, because, like, me and you, we've talked about this show for years, and, like, this is the first time me and you both agreed together that we're actually interested, and we're, like, almost have sympathy, and, like, we want to know what's happening. Compared to every other episode, I'm like, I don't care what Frank did, I don't want to know what he's doing, I don't want to know who he's hurting or doing whatever, but, like, I'm like, what's happening? Like, is he, like, what's gonna happen to him? Like, what's gonna escalate from that? And it seems like it's like he's also playing into the character more, because he's also like, I need to see what's gonna happen to, and also, like, give it more than just, like, drunk Frank, robber Frank, scam Frank.
Maybe that's also why they had in the first episode him being, like, the historian of the South Side, saying all the things he remembers about the South Side, because now he doesn't remember fucking anything.
Ooh, damn, like, foreshadowing, almost like he was given such a big, like, here's all this, and now he's like, I don't remember what I said 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. And I like the scene of him in the kitchen, like, trying to recruit people to help, because I pretty much love any scene where Noel and William H. Macy get to, like, be in a scene together. Mickey and Frank's scenes, like, hit a little different.
They're really funny. I like, especially, like, domestic Mickey, like, in the house, like, those, I love them.
But yeah, in conclusion, we're interested in Frank, and that's a new thing. Frank,
and William H. Macy is doing a really good job this season. Like, he seems like more animated, even with, like, we can tell what's going on, if that makes any sense. Like, it sounds like it's definitely a build up to something sad that's gonna happen, but, like, he's still, like, as, like, peppy as, like, he's been previous seasons, even though he's like losing his mind now.
Yeah. Only took you 11 years, but I'm now interested in the character that you want me to assume was the main character the whole time.
Oh, also, we forgot to mention what it was yesterday, right? Was the 10-year anniversary of Shameless.
Yeah, yesterday when 11:04 aired was the 10-year anniversary of Shameless, and they made like 2 Instagram posts about it.
And I think they did a Sirius XM interview live stream with a bunch of the cast. I was gonna watch that at some point, which is like, I think they had all the main people, like the main cast on for it.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet. I know there's like one clip of Noel saying, "Oh yeah, I have many serious moments, like that time that Cam hit me in the face with a dildo." It was very serious moment.
I love that scene because literally on, like, in the actual show, you can see Noel break right at the last second. He starts laughing right after it hits him, and
you can see him laugh, and you can see Cam like throw his head back and clap. I'm like, that wasn't Ian and Mickey, that was Noel and Cam.
I love it. I'm so glad that they kept that little snippet in.
But before we go off on more of a tangent like that, let's wrap up the mini-sode because we have to record the real episode as well. This will be out before the Hall of Shame airs, before the next Hall of Shame airs, and we're going to try to record as many of the end of season 2 as we can and get them out to you as fast as possible, maybe at a little bit of a faster uploading schedule, so that we can get into season 3 while season 11 is still going.
Yes, make it or break it.
We're going to put all of our follow us on everything in our bio or in the description of the show notes, and just the Instagram and the Twitter for the show are luckwehadpod. You can email us at luckwehadpod@gmail.com. Okay, this is going to wrap up the mini-sode, and then we're going to get to the main episode.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.